everybody. This is a live stream to give you all the lowdown on my extension channel. Here is where I keep it real. I'm going to be open and honest about things that I want to talk about. That includes music, movies, TV, politics, and even stuff that involves the disabled community. I don't pull no punches. Over the last couple of days, let's get into the meat of this. Over the last couple of days, I've been avoiding the news because the Trump tards want to steamroll Obamacare again. And it really irks me because I use Obamacare because that's where I got my insurance through. They want to steamroll that again. And then I just heard on the news earlier tonight that the Special Olympics just got defunded by Miss DeVos. And I'm ashamed of her. You know, we can't fund any worthy thing going on, you know? And when I hear that things like Special Olympics are being defunded, part of our government is having money taken out to fund this stupid wall, it really irks me. But back to the Special Olympics thing for a second. My niece is involved in that. She's now 13 years old, loves it. She likes to bowl, and she's won first place the last year, and she's back at it again for this year. Goes to tournaments every few weeks. And she not only does that, but she rides horses. Her mom and dad take her out to Newark, Ohio, to ride the horses, and it gives her pleasure, you know. When she started over a year ago, they didn't think that she would like the horses. But now she just loves it. She puts on her boots, puts on her hat, and goes out to ride the horses, and she wins awards for it. I couldn't be more proud of my niece. You know, and it's the government that wants to strike down people who want to make something of themselves. You know, and it might be the local officials that might want to strike us down. You know, I would talk about this on the news features like WSYX ABC6 Columbus or WCMH4 here in my city of Columbus. But every word out of my mouth would be something foul. I don't like what they're doing, especially to the disabled community, and especially what they're doing to women that need the Planned Parenthood for their health issues. And now Obamacare may get the rug yanked again. Not happy about it, but you know, I'll be so glad when this administration is over and done with, because they've done nothing but try and ruin people. You know, and President Trump isn't doing much to help the people of the United States. People are being flooded out of their homes, and we're supposed to have a stretch of severe weather coming across the country again. You know, and we've got some serious problems here at home. You know, they wanted to fund things, and they want to take money out of our defense fund to pay for the stupid border wall. What kind of crap is that? You know, and then you hear about the lawyer that worked with paid off Stormy Daniels. That lawyer's going to go to jail for a while. Jared Smollett had his charges dropped, and it's been a bumper crop. You know, the guy admitted he lied, and yet the charges are still dropped. Country's a mess, man. And then Roseanne Barr, remember her? She claims that Sarah Gilbert ruined her life. No, You ruined your own life, bitch. Think about it. You totally trashed your own life over stupidity. Your narcissism and your racism is what did you in. And as I've said, narcissists and racists have no place in the Oval Office or on television. You know, and like I said in my video last night about my former friend on my other channel, you know, there's a point that I won't go beyond. And I do have a high tolerance level for certain things. But from what I'm seeing on the government, my short fuse is very, 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 very short. And the fact that those morons want to take away rights to Planned Parenthood and Special Olympics, come on. People have it hard enough in this world, you know. Things can happen even after that initial incubation period for babies. You know, there were some babies that have birth defects that could kill them. Some moms might want to abort the child, knowing that the odds are that the child's going to die. I heard one story about a guy whose wife was getting ready to have a baby. Everything seemed to be going fine. They go in to do the checkup, and the checkup went way off the page. You know, the baby's fine now, but once it leaves the womb, it'll die. It had some sort of genetical condition to shorten the lifespan of the child, and the baby died not long after birth. But the woman decided to carry the baby through. But there are some parents that may have that heart-wrenching decision. If they're faced with a terminal event, the mother should have the right to decide whether or not to terminate the pregnancy. You know, I think what the government's doing is a terrible thing. You know, if women want to abort their babies, they should have that right. You know, and I'm a disabled person, okay? I'm going to be 48 here in less than a month, a little over a month actually. And you know, my parents raised me with rose-colored glasses on when I was little. But the minute I hit 11 or 12 years old, I got to see the cruelties of some people firsthand, and it isn't fun. It isn't fun, especially when they make fun of your bowed legs or how you hold utensils. You know, and teenagers did that to me. Stupid, lame-o teenagers did that to me. Made me feel like the lowest common denominator known to man. And even when my father, my sister, my two brothers, and even my mother, they all stood up for me. They would stop for like a second and then they would start in again. And it went on for like 5 minutes. And it was a certifiable mess. Even when the manager came out at the restaurant we were at, he tried to smooth things over. And my dad says, don't bother bagging anything up. We're leaving. My daughter does not deserve that. She deserves to go out and have a nice dinner without having some idiots stare at her. She's got bent legs. So what? She has problems holding forks. So what? She's still a human being. You know, and it really stinks. You know, I have to struggle for everything in life. Everybody has to struggle at some point in life, but if you're not raised right and you make fun of people that have disabilities, maybe you should have a child with a disability. You get the picture pretty quickly that most disabled people are treated like we should be seen and not heard. It happened to a friend of mine who had Duchenne muscular dystrophy. But you know what? He had more tenacity and strength than most people on this planet. He was very bright, articulate, well mannered, and super smart. He had Duchenne muscular dystrophy, had it for 33 years, and was the bravest guy I knew. Even when he started losing muscle mass and went on a vent, he still lived his life and did what he had to do, got out of the nursing home he was in, went to Ohio State University, and fought and won his right to go to college. And he became somebody. He might not have gone back to get his second degree on a case of death, but I believe that he's done what he set out to do. I believe that my friend Robert Patrick McNamara done what he had set out to do. And I'm so proud of him. He broke the shit out of that stereotype that disabled people should be seen and not heard. If you have the drive and the passion to accomplish what you want, get out there and accomplish what you want. If you want to fight to go to college, you fight and go to college. Get out there, make something of your life, and do it well. My friend sure did. And a lot of people could learn from him. A lot of people could have learned from him. That guy had more arrows thrown at him in his life than I care to count. He hated having the trach. He hated having to be suctioned, but, he handled it with grace, dignity, and he's a very compassionate guy and a very emotionally strong guy. Because, he's had everything thrown at him, He was he looked like a young Paul McCartney. He did look like a young Paul McCartney. And I used to rib him about that. And he's like, oh, come on, I do not. And I said, you do too. And he was always working on his papers and getting high marks in his class. And he says, hey, Pammy, I'm getting ready to go to college. This was back in 1995. He says, I'm getting ready to get out of here and go to college. And I said, oh, you're going to go to college during the day and then go back to the nursing home on Carl Road? And he's like, no. He's like, I'm going to be living in a dorm. And when I finish my schooling, I'll have my own apartment. And I was like, wow, really? And at that time, I wasn't on mainstream. I wasn't on mainstream full time. But once I did get signed on, I missed his party because back in those days, you had to make a trip a week in advance. And I said, well, buddy, I'm sorry. I can't make it to your party. I couldn't get a ride on the service. And he's like, that's okay. He says, I know you're here in spirit. Try not to worry about me. And I said, well, you be careful there in college. You know how some of those like to drink and hang out with the co-eds. And he's like, don't worry. And he fought and won his right to go to college. He made something of himself. He did good for whatever time he had. And even when his former friend treated him like a dog when she had her little girl, he bought her a lot of things for the child, even though he's not the biological dad. That guy stepped up and got that little girl things that she needed to help her grow and be a good, productive young lady. And the last time I saw my friend Rob, I went up to visit him by myself when I finally got on the service. And he's like, Pammy, what are you doing here? Is Danita with you? And I said, no. I said, I decided to come up on my own to see you. And he's like, well, I'm in the middle of Bible study, but you can come in. And I used the bathroom. And by the time I got done with that, the guy who was doing the Bible study had left. And he says, I'm sorry about that. And I said, no. I said, I'm just not religious, you know. I had to go to the bathroom anyway. It's a long ride from where I live. And we had dinner together. We schmoozed for a couple of hours. And then as I got ready to leave, he sat out in the main atrium where you can sit out in, it's like a little living room. And we talked for a few minutes. And he said, Pammy, I don't know why Donita doesn't, say anything to me, I don't think she ever thanked me for helping her with her daughter. And I said, well, Rob, I wouldn't worry about it. That's just the way she is. She's just too within herself to really give a damn. And he says, I just wish that she respected me more. And I said, well, Robbie, don't worry about it. At least you don't have to deal with her. Try not to worry about it. You're accomplishing things. Try not to worry about it. And that's when he said, I'm seriously thinking about going back to college. And I said, really? That's great. He says, I'm going to go back for another degree. And I can't remember what degree he was trying to go back for, but, and I said, if you do go back to college, I know you'll do it. You did it before, you'll do it again. And then the bus pulled up. He says, well, your bus is here. I said, yeah, I know. I said, it was good to see you, man. And he says, it was good to see you too. And I said, as I left, I said, don't worry about Donita. It's her loss, not yours. Try not to worry about it. I kissed him on the forehead and I was gone. And not long after that, he had passed. So, he was a guy that broke the mold that disabled people should be seen and heard because they could be some of the greatest people in the world. Trust me. Just like he was a scrapper through life, so am I. And my parents treated me like I was a somebody and not a nobody. But don't take any day for granted, people. Life's too short to be fussing and feuding. And sometimes kids need a real reality check. Just because your life sucks doesn't mean you have to go around bullying people and making them feel inferior. Because I was a victim of severe bullying, and it happened between 2006 and 2008 over a fucking game show, which I now call a considerable piece of shit. And YouTube's policies at that time didn't take threats very seriously. The one person that had a vendetta out on me for liking a game show host made threats on me and made threats on immediate members of my family, mainly my father. And when this person starts going after people I love, there's a problem. And this turd bothered me from two channels, Wheelock MT for life and Wheelock NS for life. Was saying, I live in Datsburg. I'm going to come and kill you and your dad. This went on for 2 years, between 2006 and 2008. And this person not only bullied me here on YouTube, but this person bullied me on GSN's website and other television type websites. And the saving grace, I had several friends take screen captures of what I sent to them because they had the printers to do that. And somebody at one of these websites got the ISP of this particular person that was harassing and bullying me. And he says, I don't normally do this for anybody, but since you're having so much trouble with this idiot, I found the ISP of the person. And I'm like, well, how did you do that? And he says, well, this person tried coming into this chat space under 3 different names to try and harass you. So I'm helping you out in your case against this person. So you could just imagine little old me going down there on the bus in my manual wheelchair, handing all the stuff to the district attorney and giving them the ISP of this person, you know. And I told him my case and I left. And a few days later, I get a letter stating that we're not going to prosecute the case. And I said, they said, we're going to close the case. And I said, oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're not. That person went after me and my father and possibly my mother. And you're going to close the case? Oh, no. You're going to look up the ISP at least, find out where those damn emails came from. And I said, not only did she threaten my family, she stole some videos I made in tribute to George Harrison. I had a channel back in the day called Beatles Only Blog. And I did some videos for George Harrison from the now defunct One True Media. And people were catching wind of what this person was doing and telling me about it and making my life a pretty miserable place to live in. And yet YouTube did nothing. I had to go to the district attorney's office. And you're probably asking, did you get this person? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I did. Big time. Because the person made the mistake of getting on her channel and railing about her personal protective order that she got, and then made more attacks after me and my father. But by my birthday of 2008, those channels were shut down for good. And the letter came that it was from California. The threats were coming from California, and that if she didn't stop this blatant harassment, that she could be prosecuted to the full limit of Ohio law. And my dad said, are you sure it's over? And I said, yeah, come in here and take a look. And I pulled up both of the pink bands that had those names, And he's like, well, good. You can go back and watch your show now. And I said, I don't think so, Dad. He's like, what? It's all over, isn't it? And I said, well, yeah, but to be honest, Dad, I said, I don't think I want to watch that show anymore. Who knows if any other moron is going to come out and make life miserable for me. And he's like, well, I never thought about it that way. He says, well, it's up to you, honey. I support your decision no matter what. So I kind of put pressure luck to bed and move forward. So I decided to use a platform like this to talk about what's wrong in the world and in my community, and try to do the right thing and help other people that are going through depression, thoughts of suicide, what's going on Capitol Hill, what's happening in the music business, who's hot, who's not, who's alive, who's dead, the usual stuff. But I'm hoping that on this secondary channel, we could really get down to some serious talk. I'm going to be like my friend O'Shea, and I'm going to be like my friend Pee Wee Toms. I'm not going to give up, and I'm sure as hell not going to give in. And if I want to see an end to cancer, Parkinson's, AIDS, I'm going to stand at the front of the line and say, We got to put an end to this. And we must hold our leaders accountable for their actions. I can't stress that enough. And I won't stop until I see Trump and his people held accountable for their bullshit, the constant revolving door in Washington. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is stone cold, real. This is the real shit, man. I'm not going to hold back on anything. I'll be talking about problems in Washington, movies, music, and maybe some comedy bits in the future. Maybe share some things about family on here. But I don't know. You know, cancer's a drag. Political corruption's a major drag. And just being treated like a common outsider is a potential drag. You know, a lot of people don't get that when you have a disability, you know, people in the workforce tend to see the disability rather than the ability. You know, but I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. Even though this platform can be such a shit, I'm still going to keep up the fight, whether I do it here or on my Facebook. I'm out, I'm done, and that's it. Have a good night, everybody, and tune in for more hard-hitting content in the next couple of days. Tomorrow, we're going to start talking about toxic friends. So, there you have it. Good night, ladies and gents. Stream is over. Don't forget, don't give up, don't give in. If you're having a hard time, keep up the fight. Don't let the naysayers put you down.